Hi, fourth grade friends. I'm back with another math lesson for you today. Today we're going to talk about adding and subtracting decimals, mostly in relationship to money. Sorry about that. So, here we go. So I have a little friend here who's not happy. So we're going to talk review briefly the dollar and cent sign, because I see a lot of confusion with that in fourth grade. The cent sign should be used to show whole amounts of cents, typically less than $1, so up to 99 cents. There is no decimal point when using the cent sign. It is just to show any, like I said, any amount less than a dollar usually. You can show more than $1, but it's not typical that we see that, especially not by fourth grade. The cent sign comes after the whole number amount. And then when we're using the dollar sign, which is the letter S with one or sometimes two lines down between it, we see the zero if there's no whole dollar amount. Then we see the decimal, and then the cents amount. So this is the correct way to use the dollar and cent sign. So now that we have that out of the way, we're going to talk about adding and subtracting decimals or dollars and cents. So really, if you know how to do money, you know how to do decimals for the most part. There's just a few minor things that I'll try to talk about in my video. So let's just go over adding. So adding is pretty much the same as regular addition that we talked about, way back early in the year. Obviously, though, we're dealing with a dollar sign and decimals now. Two things that you'll notice: my dollar sign only appears after the first, or I should say not after, before the first dollar amount, and my decimal places are lined up. All right. Now, if you want, you can bring your dollar sign down in your amount for your final answer, and you can also bring your decimal point down. Then that's already out of the way, because if you're working in retail that doesn't have a cash register someday, and you're doing everything by hand, or you're doing your checkbook, or you're just doing something in your head, you want to make sure that you're remembering that you're adding, in this case, $4.98 plus $3.95, not $498 and $395. Big difference there. So I brought down my decimal place, brought down my dollar sign, and now I can just go through and do the addition, or if it would be a subtraction problem, like normal. So for this problem, again, if there's any adding or regrouping necessary, I want to go ahead and make sure I do that as well, just like normal addition and subtraction. So 8 plus 5 is 13, so I write my 3, carry my 1. 1 plus 9 is 10. 10 plus 9 is 19. So I write my 9 down, carry my 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. And then 5 plus 3 is 8. So my final answer is $8.93. All right. And you might want to leave a little extra space there at the dollar sign in case you have double digits there in your final answer. So that is adding money. All right. Now, if you're adding decimals that do not have a dollar sign, let's say you're just adding tenths and hundredths. I'm going to do this slightly different. All right. And instead of my bottom number, I'm going to add 3 9/10. So the first step is always make certain that your decimal places are lined up. All right, as you can see, mine are. So just like when we were learning how to add and subtract whole numbers, we had to make sure our ones place was lined up. Basically, that's all I'm doing here. And my decimal place helps me do that. Now you'll notice with this problem, I do not have hundredths in my bottom number. Now, you may remember from some of my other lessons that I said you can add zeros onto the end of a number and it will not change the value. Okay, now that's when we're talking about decimals. So I can add a 0 right here and it does not change the value. All right, let me go ahead and get rid of this money amount so we're not looking at so much. Excuse me. And now, again, I can bring my decimal point down so that it's already done. And I can go ahead and do my addition. All right, so 8 plus 0 is 8. No regrouping necessary. 9 plus 9 is 18. So I'm going to carry my 1. And then 5 plus 3 is 8. Oh, look at that. All 8s. So my answer is 8, and my decimal point's pretty high there. Break down a little bit. 8 and 88 hundredths. Okay. So again, you can add zeros onto the end of your decimals and it does not change the value. You cannot put it smack dab in the middle. That will change the value. All right. So let's look at some money problems with subtraction really quick. So let's say I had $15. Make sure my decimal point shows up. And I buy something that is $6.23. All right. So again, I only need my dollar sign on the top, monetary amount. I can bring it down for my answer. I can bring my decimal point down. Now, with money, if you ever do not, let's say in this case, since I'm dealing with a whole $15, no cents, you may see it sometimes where it's just $15. So it might look like this to start off in your problem, and then you go to line it up. Well, you'll need to add the decimal point and the 2 zeros to keep your place values lined up. All right. So now I can go through and subtract. Keep in mind, you cannot take something away from 0. So I need to go and borrow from the first place value that has something, and that is in this case, the 1's place. All right. So I'm going to borrow from the 1's. That's now 4. And I'm going to distribute my 10s so that I get something in the hundredths place. So I'm going to give this the 10ths 10. And now I have something from that place value to borrow to give to my hundredths. All right. So all the old school, or, the old rules apply that we talked about. All right. So now 10 minus 3 is 7. 9 minus 2 is 7. 4 minus 6. I can't do it. Can't. More on the floor. Can't do it. So I need to go next door, borrow from my 10s, and I'm going to add 10 to the 4 that's already there. So now I have 14 minus 6, which is 8. And I have no more 10s left, so I'm done there. So I have $8.77 left over. All right. Now, I know it's a lot to take in, but at least you're watching a video. You can pause this. You can rewind it if you need to. Let's look at a problem without dollar signs. So we're just going to look at a decimal. Let's say our problem was, whoops, said we're not doing money. 8 and 9/10 minus 6 and 54 hundredths. All right. So I'm going to line, first of all, I'm going to put this vertically. I'm going to keep my columns lined up, my decimal point, and look what happens. I have hundredths in my bottom number, but I do not have hundredths in my top number. But again, I can make there be magical hundredths because I can add a 0. So I can give that place value something so it looks a little more normal for me. All right, I can go ahead and bring my decimal point down. And I can go ahead and subtract, regrouping where necessary. All right, so I can't take 4 from 0, so I'm going to go next door. I'm going to borrow 1. I'm going to add the 10 over there. So 10 minus 6, or I'm sorry, 10 minus 4 is 6. 8 minus 5 is 3. My decimal's already down here, and 8 minus 6 is 2. So there you have it. I don't have any dollar signs to add or anything because we're not dealing with money. So a couple things to keep in mind. Make certain your your decimal points are lined up, all right, when you're adding or subtracting. If you don't have anything in a place value, because in this case, like we didn't have anything in the hundreds, you can add on to your whole number or to your, after your tenths, or as you get older, your hundredths, and so on and so forth, to provide place value. Zero has no value. It is just a placeholder. And so that's what we're using it for right here. And also keep in mind that if you cannot subtract from your top number, you do have to regroup. So now, if you made it to the end of this video, congratulations. To show that you have watched this video, we have a little, surprise for you. You only have to do the even numbers on the worksheet that accompanies this video and the template. So again, please, if you've watched to the end of this video, only do the even problems, because that's kind of like our little gift for you, or your how we know you watched this video. So you don't need to comment that you watched the video. You don't need to send your teacher that. We'll know that you watched the video by only doing, again, the even problems. Don't tell your friends, because that wouldn't be fair to them. They have to learn just like you do. So again, only the even problems. So congratulations, and talk to you soon. Bye.